Welcome to Angels and Demons podcast. My name is Vincent Morgan, founder and owner and starter of this podcast. This podcast is for other people that are going through all situations in life. That is for mental health primarily. That can be suicide prevention. That can be from anything that you can think of that is difficult in life. Brother Rick is someone that's going to come on with Mr. Bill Scroggins and talk about what it was like to grow up and give his life. From Southern California, Brother Rick went from a young man to living most of his life in a community, and it, by definition, falls underneath what we would call a cult. It just crosses all those boxes off. And so we're just going to be honest and truthful and just say this was a cult. We've never done a podcast with someone on this level. I wanted to step out of being the host because I happen to come from this cult as well. And so I didn't feel like it was fair to the audience to have a biased view of the questions and the responses into what was involved of what Mr. Bill Scroggins as being such a movement in terms of wanting to, not for Jacksonville and Atlantic Beach, but for this country to know that there are angels and demons and there is truth. And you are not alone in fighting those things. And so going back to the purpose of this is this brother in Christ, Rick Lowe, gave his life from Southern California. It was a church in Southern California called Bird Rock, where there was a group of 100 plus people that moved to central Missouri, bought a plot of land, a sheep farm, and formed a Christian community. What is a community? A community could be Nocatee in Jacksonville. We're not talking about that kind of community. We're talking about a community where if you leave, you're cut off. You're not allowed to talk to your parents. I didn't talk to my mom or dad for 7 years. Two people hung themselves. One person put weights on his foot and killed themselves. This isn't funny. Okay? So this podcast is to show that there's sickness in this world. Now, there might have been a lot of good that came out of it, and you'll hear a lot of good that came out of it. But I'll tell you the leaders can go to hell because they took a lot of life. The suicide rate before this podcast, I went and looked at it. It's 1 for 52,000 people, okay? There are 3 people out of 100, let's say 130 people that killed themselves. That's serious. That's serious. It's very serious. That's a high suicide rate. No matter what good, no matter bad you want out of it, those are the results. That's the truth. So you can speak well about this. You can speak good about it. You're going to hear a lot of it. You're going to hear the smooth way that this was. But in reality, my father, who is a part of this, and Rick Lowe, who is a part of this, they didn't go into it with bad intentions. But you're going to hear parts of this of how it was intended to be good. And it was good. There was a lot of good that came out. Nobody had bad intentions, but sometimes the things that we go into in life end up being for something we didn't intend, and they're lessons learned. So anyone that is going through a Christian environment, a local church, or whatever you want to call it, where you feel like Christ is not the center, you are being pulled because of a movement. It could be 1122. It could be anything, where the movement itself becomes more important than the actual purpose, which is Jesus Christ. Not 1122. We're not Baptist Methodist. It is about God. We want you to be free. If you are in a cult or you need help, you can call us. You will get help. If you are in a situation where someone is holding you hostage in a spiritual element, we want to be there for you. So I hope you look forward to this. It's going to be an amazing podcast with Brother Rick and Mr. Bill Scroggins. But this is to help you recognize the importance of Angels and Demons podcast and what we can do to help you.
Brother Rick.
Good morning, Brother Bill.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for being here. When Vince told me about you, I was without words. Your story is absolutely incredible. And I just want to delve right into it. The main theme of Angel and Demons is mental health and let people know you're not alone.
Yeah.
You're not. We all have our angels and demons.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, history. Back in the 70s, early 70s, well, late 70s, actually. There's a movie out, And I have to connect this with everything because I didn't really see it until it actually came out. I saw the movie and my jaw dropped. But it's called The Jesus Revolution. And it's a true story, 1968. Lonnie Frisbee, Chuck Smith, and Greg Laurie from, oh my gosh, the church. I'm trying to think of the church. Calvary Chapel. Anyway, I was only 13 when that happened. I joined a church that came out of that movement. That movement started something in our country. It wound up on Time magazine. So it was, I would just recommend see it because it's anyway. So that movie that movement had an impact on our church back in San Diego. I was 19 and I was invited to a church. I was going through some struggles. Is this what you want to know?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Yes.
All right.
I'm going to be listening a lot more than I'm talking here.
We just talked about, we're both listeners. We don't talk very much. So anyway. But I was going through, I thought I knew what I wanted to do. And coming out of school, I had it all figured out. I got the job doing it. And I totally said, I can't do this. So the pressure's on when you're young. And now I feel sorry for young people. They have so many options out there. And what am I going to do? And if you prepare, I was studying a junior high school art contest, architecture and stuff. And I got the job and I said, I can't do this. I can't do it for the rest of my life behind a desk. So I started going through some struggles there. I was living at home, 18 years old. And I heard a radio. I had a part-time job. And if I talk too much, let me know. I spiderweb a little bit. But I got a job. I heard a radio program. I was a graveyard shift at a gas station. I heard this program on there. The previous couple nights before that, I was robbed in kind of not a good part of the city.
I've been robbed once. That's something good to be to say that's happened.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't have guns. They just came in, did whatever they want. I said, see ya, and it's like, what just happened? So anyway, I think, what is life all about? I was thinking this, where am I going? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm 18. I should have it all figured out. And I turned on the radio and I heard this broadcast. It was called Reality. And I thought, they talked about why Jesus came, the whole story, basic salvation. We went to church very rarely, but my parents believed in God. That I was raised in a decent family. They stayed together, everything. But they never talked about, maybe they did, but I wasn't ready for it. But I was in a point where I was ready for that. And so I listened. They said, if you want to know more, send in, write us, we'll send you some more. So I said, yeah, I loved it. So when you're young, you have your great days. And when and then you have your bad days. Everybody, women, men, they all have their issues. They all have things that they go through. Anyway, so I'm on my way out, San Diego. I'm 18. I got blonde hair down to here. I love to surf. I was going to try my new board out. Just got a board for Christmas. And that's a long story there. But anyway, and my mom said, oh, Rick, she was in Tupperware, very busy lady and everything. Great mom. And she said, you got a letter. I said, oh, really? What? I looked at Reality. It's like, oh.
That was a big deal back then, by the way.
What?
To get a letter.
Yeah. No, I mean, that was a normal thing. But
looking back on it.
Yeah, right.
A letter for me.
It was like a package, it was like something special. And so it was big Reality. And I thought, well, I was feeling good. I was going to the beach. I was having a great day. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm just going to open it up. So I went back. We have a little shanty out in the backyard, sewing room. Opened it up, and it talked about Jesus, why he came, to bridge the gap, to restore fellowship with God, to forgive sin. And I thought, I don't know what this is, but I want to know. It really got me. And I was cut. That's the best way I can explain it. And so I got my parents' Bible answer. So I was doing that. And then about a month later, I meet Vince's dad who had just come to the Lord. This is 1978. He had just come to the Lord 3 months before that, and he was on fire. He came into I got a racquetball. The racquetball was just starting back then, and I'll try to wind it down. But anyway, I met him, and he saw me read the Bible in between checking people in and out. I was reading the Bible, and he said he came out. He's waiting for his friend. He's a very good racquetball player, by the way. But anyway, yes, it smoked me. So he said, "Is that a Bible?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm just trying to figure it out." He said, "Are you a Christian?" I said, "I don't know. I'm reading it. Not sure." He just went into a tirade of hallelujahs and everything else. And I rolled my eyes and said, "Who in the world is this guy?" And Dennis he's totally opposite of me. He's totally outward. He was the only son, Italian family, and I'm totally introverted. I was raised with 3 sisters. So anyway, totally set up that way. But so I rode my bike home, wasn't very far from it. And I was just like, he invited me to a service. He was going to the Bible classes. So he invited me. And so I said, well, I made a call. He said, if you want to come, I'll come pick you up. And so I thought, I'm not going to go. So, but on my way home, I said, what just happened? I just knew something was going on. And, I was looking. And so I called him up, went to a class, and it was a communion service. It was non-denominational. We were located in 3 different places in San Diego, and went to a communion service, and they were having communion. It's like, what is this? Never heard of this. And I thought, there's something here. I don't know what it is. So anyway, everybody that's listening to me probably has had these moments if you know the Lord. But it set the pace. I started going to Bible studies, and they had a class. It was called Who, What, Where. Who are we? Where are we going? And what are we doing here? What's our purpose?
That's perfect at that age.
I was asking those questions at that time. It's like, what is the purpose of this? Just you go to a job, you get great, you do your thing, you raise your, you have kids, and then you die or whatever.
Is this good enough?
Is there more? Is there more to this?
Is it
I don't have peace in my life. You're young, everything's flowing. You want, you want to. You don't know what direction to take, and there's so much out there. There's no guidance, and I believe I got the questions answered. At least some that. They put the Old Testament and the New Testament together. They said, this is what got me to keep coming back. They said, don't believe a word that we are teaching in this class. This is the thing the hook that got me. And I said, I never heard of this. Don't believe anything we say. You check it out. The burden of proof is on you. You need to check it out. It's got to match with the Old Testament and the New Testament because God, I am the Lord, I changed on. So I started going to these classes, and the who, what, where study, the sonship study, we were studying at the Lord's return, the whole thing. So I was going to those classes, and then in our group, our pastor, there was a pastor at each group in East San Diego, La Jolla, and Cardiff, pretty far away. We get together at different times of the year to go up to Julian, which is a beautiful place for retreats and stuff. We did it for a couple times. And our pastor said, he was young, very smart and so forth. And he said, why can't we have something like this? Why can't we just live together? I mean, or have our own school, have our own businesses and live closer together in the same neighborhood. It was impossible in a city. So the community was he was the only one. The other ones were okay. Nothing wrong with that. And there was a book that came out. It's called, I took a picture, I looked it up. It's called Living Together in a World Falling Apart. And it was kind of a catalyst to, this is what we want. He found this book or whatever and started reading it and started talking about it. And, so anyway, if I'm talking too much, let me know.
So this is what started the idea of a community.
Yeah. It started
faith-based.
Started building something.
Collective also. collective of the work.
Yes, yes. To try to find, can we do something? We found other communities out there that have been around since the 30s, German community, the Bruderhof, and they've got 3 or 4 locations. There's hundreds of people, and they have big businesses and stuff. And they migrated from Germany to Uruguay, I think, and then they came to the U.S. in the 30s. Anyway,
So
they
you
were
hit the
inspiring.
road?
No, well, a couple of them went to visit, made a contact. Actually, they visited us. They sent somebody out and told us about their community. We were excited about it. And there's only like maybe 30 people in our group. And each group was, I don't know, maybe the same amount of people. And some people in the other groups are going, that's interesting, but we're good, and that's okay. So I started thinking I'm single and so forth. But I met my wife that I'm married to now. I met her at a Revelation study. And this is 1978. And so I moved out of my parents' house, moved into a brother's house. They had brother houses for the singles, excuse me. And that was great. I needed to get out of the house. I was 18 years old. So anyway, we had a sister's house, brother's house. And then I was pressured. I was telling one of the guys here, you might as well ask her out. And I was very shy. I did it. So we started dating and so forth, but then she's in another part of the county at one of the other churches. She's in the La Jolla group. She was closer to the beach. And she is hearing all this stuff. And then it was presented to the other groups that, hey, we're thinking about this. It's like, and there was resistance to do that. Why, we should stay here in the city and so forth. And that's true too. There's nothing wrong with that. But the thing, he wanted more. He wanted something where we can raise our kids up in the Lord. Then the Acts of the Apostles came in. They sold everything. They put everything in the pot, and they had all things in common. They shared what they had with one another, and it just started coming together. I was like, I'd like to go, but and it got to the point. This just went on for about a year. And there were people, we had very smart people, teachers, architects, engineers, electricians, all kinds of smart people that went to school. And then just me, I'm just a run-of-the-mill, go get them this. And I love doing things. So we had an interesting mix of people. And so it felt like maybe the Lord is calling us to something like this. And I stressed over it when we actually started. They actually sent somebody out there, found some property, and we bought some. It was in the Midwest, and they here.
So you didn't join that specific group. You started your own.
Yes, you mean apart from the other
Yes.
ones? Yeah, we broke away from there, and obviously we opened it that they could come out, and they did. Some people came out, and my wife was one of them because I broke up with her because I decided to go, and she goes, I'm not going, and I thought, well, if I don't like it, I'll just come back. I was stressed about it. I thought, hey, so we went. And then she came back out about a year later. She had a job and everything in San Diego. She was going to the group. She came out. A lot of young people came out in that group. I was one of them. And we started the community, and we didn't know what we were doing. I was thinking, I wrote down a couple of words here. We were imperfect, flawed, and maybe ulterior motives, hey, this is why I want to start my farm. Or we did have issues.
So draw a picture of this for me. Big tract of land. Must be a house, a barn.
There was exactly what you said.
Crops already going, cattle.
No, none of that. But there was sheep. It was a sheep barn next to the main house, and the guy that owned it was a sheep herder from Lebanon, Missouri, and and he raised roses around it. So that was our meeting hall. That little building there, it was a sheep shed, and we converted it into a meeting hall. But we thought, we can raise our family up in here. I was scared to get married. When it came to I got married in 1981, and I almost backed out. I was so afraid of the commitment. I thought, this is it. I know it's it. I can't just, but I did.
So how many people do we have now at the community?
We have about maybe, I'm going to probably be wrong on this.
1981.
1981, maybe 12 families, maybe 50 people.
Wow, that's big.
40 people.
That's big.
Maybe less than that. Maybe between 35 and 40. And some with their first kid. Maybe 4 or 5 families with their first kid. And so we started doing that. But anyway, it was like a honeymoon to me, really. I just, and this is a crazy thing. There were a lot of things going on at that period of time. There were a lot of communities that started, the Stargate community or whatever, where they committed suicide. The Jonestown just hit the fan.
That's true, yes.
There was a lot of negativity coming out about community, but we believed it was the enemy. We believed it was Satan. It was trying to, because if you watch that movie, The Jesus Revolution, it shows you what happened, all the stress that was going on at that time, people disillusioned with the government. Churches they didn't like the hippies. There was a drug revolution going on. I don't know who has seen it, but I've seen it a few times. But anyway, so we thought, this is great. This is, God wants to do something here, and we're just a little piece of it. So anyway, I'll shut up for a little. Let you ask it.
This is great.
Ask the questions.
You set a beautiful base for all this.
Yeah.
So everything's going well. Somehow a leader has to form, or some kind of structure has to form.
Yeah.
That's just natural in any group.
That was a process. Yeah, it really was.
So someone stepped up that was perhaps a biblical scholar or was naturally gifted at it?
Yeah. There was somebody elder. We had basically the pastor, the one that had the vision for it. And then we had an assistant pastor. He was over the school. He was the principal of the school. And then we had, what do you call that? Maintenance steward over everything, building. When we got there, it was in June, and we were living in places around. Anyway, it was quite the journey, but it was exciting. And
you
were all on board.
You got 12 families, 50 people.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
You must have multiple structures.
Yeah. So we had, like I said, we had an architect, an engineer, electrician, builders.
So you were building then?
Basically we had a farmhouse. We had our little meeting house, and then we had a lot of acreage. So we needed to get some homes. We were staying in the nearby towns until we can get, sorry.
Okay. No, I understand now. And then all these different trades, vocational trades and things, people would leave the community and then come back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we would have dinners, potlucks and stuff. And we wanted to raise our own food and have a bakery. And it was beautiful. It was just beautiful. And there were singles there. It was like, this is the place to raise a family. And I'll just verge off of that just for a moment. But when I talk to young people after thinking about it for years, I tell them, find a church that's preaching the word, that you can study the Bible and talk freely and ask questions. I believe God wants us to know. He said, seek and you'll find, knock and you'll, all that. So that was a process of our community. It was birthed out of that, hey, we want to know who Jesus is, who God is, who are we, why are we here? And anyway.
So what are some of the rules and expectations of this community at this time?
Before we left, we started asking, what are we going to do? We all need to agree. We talked about everything. Everything was on the table. And I think that was our downfall, is because we moved from that. We stopped talking. The meetings sometimes got too long. We've got this going on. But it was necessary to hear. That way everybody knew what was going on. And so the first thing was, who wants to leave TVs behind? The pastor's going, I don't even watch it. The pastor's going, we don't watch it. Do you guys, what do you think about leaving behind? Everybody put their hand up.
I don't watch it.
Yeah, well, I do. Occasionally I do, but
it wasn't much back then either.
there wasn't much on there.
No,
Now there's
no.
way too much.
Yes.
There's too many choices. But yeah, and yeah.
So it's getting kind of primitive and you're getting kind of locked in. That's a big part of it too, is communication with the outside world.
Yeah, establishing perimeters. We did talk a lot about that. Like I said, there was a lot of teachers and mothers, and it was very gifted. God provided a lot of people there to form it, and it was beautiful. That's why I'm going to stand up. This right here, I don't know if you can see that, but this is what it was all about. And it seems trite to bring it up, but it's really the foundation of any church, that God is in love with us, and he's got a plan, and it doesn't happen overnight. So anyway, what I was going to say was, the next thing was we saw the validity of a Sabbath, taking off, not working on the Sunday, and we thought we can make our decisions the way we want to raise our families according to the scriptures that we see. Not that this was wrong, that was right, blah, blah, blah. We were learning as we went. And so we all decided this was good. And it was one of the highlights of our community was no work. Unless you had to.
A true Sabbath.
Yeah, a true Sabbath, not somewhat under the law, but in the spirit of the law, as they say. Everybody wanted it and everybody needed it because we worked hard there. And,
So what happened if there's a disagreement?
I was going to tell you I'll get to that. But we had 6 months to get someplace to live. I was working at a construction company. I will get back to that. I was working at a construction company because I didn't know what I was going to do. Where were they going to put me in stuff? I could do a bunch of stuff. I got a construction company job with a steel company, the steel, metal. Mm-hmm. And we were putting up fabrication buildings, and this guy, we went out and found trailers, and we put them all up. We put the plumbing in. It was all hands on deck because we had 6 months till winter. So it was felt like a pioneer here. And I was. I felt excited about it, and it gave me purpose and hope and something exciting. It's like, wow, this is big.
So you brought these trailers onto the community property. So that was kind of like the instant home thing.
Brought them in one by one. We got a good deal on them. They were fixer-uppers, obviously. And then I was at this company, and I went to their yard. They had tons of metal, all different colors. And the name of the company was called King's Construction. So I thought, dang, okay. So I asked him, I said, are you going to do anything? He said, you want it, you can take it. It skirted all of our trailers before the winter came. But we needed to have that done. It was a huge expense. We got it for free. So, and now I'll go back to your question. I had to tell you that. It was quite a bit of work.
Oh, yeah.
That first winter. And it was a very cold winter. So go ahead, hit me.
So there's a disagreement or someone's causing mayhem, not getting along, and the thing not in the spirit of the community.
Yeah.
Perhaps selfishness.
Yeah. And we all have it to a degree. I was, like I said, I was more quiet, more like, hey, I want to hear what people say. So they could say, that, yeah. But anyway, we would have meetings and we would talk about everything, and then there was a couple situations where a guy he was a welder. He had goats and everything, but he wanted to do it his way on his scale and so forth. And it was like, well, this doesn't fit in, we're going to have to talk about this. And so there was a disagreement. We had people leave. We had people coming.
Okay. That's what
See
I was
what I'm saying? That did happen. And there was a couple situations that took your breath away, surprises. And it's like, wow,
Can you give me one of those?
There was infidelity in situation there, and it wound up with a split and somebody taking their life. So it was serious. And that one left, and the woman that left there, she was an amazing woman, had 4 kids. And God brought her into a situation where she was a teacher and everything, but I didn't want to get into names or anything like that, but everybody had something to offer and a gift. And that's the way God plans it. Everybody has that. We have one, the guy that was overseeing, he was an engineer with coordinating work parties. We used to call them work parties because there was a lot of stuff to do. And so it was all hands on deck the first year and second year, and But anyway, his wife got cancer, breast cancer. And this is the other thing. I think we got so concerned about what are we going to do, the rules that you're talking about. How are we going to structure this? What are the perimeters? What are we going to allow? So our kids were little, so we can mold them the way we thought we should mold them and stuff, and in God and with principles of.
I'm a businessman, so I'm kind of curious about the finances of something like this. So you work outside the community, you get paid,
we did that.
And then you bring your paycheck home
Yes,
to a
sir.
central bank,
Yeah.
a central account?
Yeah.
Okay.
We
and then obviously
decided,
someone managed all that.
Yep. So that operated for many, many, many years. We had different companies. Dennis was asked to head on a company, and we needed a shepherd's company. And he had a motto. He's Italian. He loves family and he loves people, and he loves the Lord a lot. And anyway, he had a motto where a father still teaches his son a trade. So that's what we brought up our kids in, and we taught them how to work and do with what you had. And
well, this is
it
pretty
was
cool. This is like
amazing
time in your
environment.
life.
It was.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. It was something that just fell out of heaven. I mean, really. And there were other communities, and they were helping us too. They were encouraging us. One of them wanted us to actually merge with them, but we felt like, we had a different ministry, and there's lots of them out there. We ran into one out there that was just a hippie movement. They were just it's like gardening and the earth and Mother Earth and all that. But people wanted community. They wanted to live together. They wanted to be committed together, and so forth. But as time went on, we got doing a lot of the talking. If you have any other
it's
questions,
okay.
but
Well, I was going to kind of cut to the chase.
I know.
There's
time here.
no, not for that, but for the viewer, at some point this started to go wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can kind of feel it like a
You know what I call it?
crescendo. Go ahead.
Human nature.
Bingo. I was just going to say that.
Human nature will rise
Pride.
in your heart, in your family, in your business, in your church. It doesn't have a title other than it's human nature. We're all fallen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's awareness of who we are. And when you see something like that, what did Jesus do? He reached out to people that were outcasts, that were the woman at the well, the one caught in adultery, all those things. He reached out to those people because he loved them. And he was after. I didn't come to call the righteous. I came to call sinners to repentance, they're ready. They want me. And guess what? I believe God gives everybody time, a lot of time, to see he's got eternity. Think about it. Eternal life, how long is that? Forever. I mean, look at the universe. I mean, he's off the charts. So he's got a lot of time. So if you fail, you make mistakes, God, and I tell people this, and I'm getting off on a tangent again, but I have these notes written down. I'll just turn to somebody. I'll ask, God, help me, talk to somebody, a couple people today. Excuse me.
You're okay.
Let me just tell them that God knows them, their circumstance. He knows what's in their heart. He knows what they're made of. He made you, and he knows all about you. He's the one that put you here. We're just here. Who are we? Where did we come from? It gets back to who are you? Who are we? We're made, and it gets back to Genesis, then to Revelation. God's got a harvest and he's working. He had to come and pay. It's a panorama view. And then he says, behold, I come quickly. It's like, what? What? A day to the Lord is 1,000 years of our time. One day, boom, in the spirit realm. So God, I just tell him, God knows you. He knows all about you. He cares about you and he loves you. And I have a bumper sticker on the back of my truck, and I'm getting off on tangents because I wrote all this stuff down and I'm not very good.
I'll bring you back in though.
I got one.
Go ahead.
I'll tell you about my bumper sticker.
Go ahead.
It's John 3:16. But then I put a dash on it and I put to 21. 3:6. I don't have John. I just got 3:16. Everybody knows what that is. Most people. To 21. Read the whole thing. It tells everything, why we're here, what the process is, how we're going to be born again, and then it's game on. Game on. It's really game over. Once you've accepted Jesus into your heart and you accept what he did and you know who he is and he loves you, he doesn't look at anything anymore. He's looking at you because you're a spirit child. And those are embodiments of things I learned through the studies. I'm not a scholar, but going over and over the Lord's Prayer. I told you I wouldn't go any further, but go ahead.
You're
right. Ask me
awesome.
another question about the community.
So at some point, there was probably some effort to keep people in that wanted to leave.
Yes, it did happen.
And what was that fence?
We kind of understood it as, this is us and they're another community. We visited other communities. There was one near us and there was other ones we visited. We went to conventions with our kids.
I mean like your own people though.
Yeah. Each community had a bit,
like your own, someone wants to leave.
Yeah. You
probably would say something like, oh, please don't. Let me talk you into it. And then it probably arose again and again.
Yes. This is, and I'm sorry I'm spider webbing so much, but I believe we made a mistake. Hindsight better than foresight, and it did cause problems in our community, was we made a lifetime commitment that we had once you had a novitiate. I came in as a novitiate when I got there, which means you're checking it out. And because it was a lifetime commitment. We want somebody that's committed. So it got to the point where that was even superseded, your spouse. I mean, it was a spiritual thing to the church, marriage, and so forth. And it really, I think, yes, it was good. It kept us there, which was okay. Maybe we needed it at that point, but as a generation, we're in a third generation, and they saw that. And even one of the pastor's sons stood up and challenged that commitment, that a lifetime commitment, that once you leave, it's not good. It's not good,
Explain that.
If you left,
you don't just
it was looked
leave.
down on.
Okay.
Yeah, it was looked down on, and there was a couple situations like that, and there was. I just accepted it as like, in the back of my mind, I thought, is this,
It's probably a lot worse than that. Like, if you leave outside, you will what? Like, you will not prosper, you're going to hell?
Yeah, I don't know about hell.
I mean, you're breaking this big covenant.
Yeah, you're breaking a commitment.
A lifetime commitment.
Yeah, and so that did go on, and that's probably the bad part of the community is, I believe I think the pastor and so forth, he wanted us to stay. And when we visited other communities, there wasn't a lot of, hey, I want to go to that community. It's like, this is our community, they can come here. But it's like, in the back of my mind, I wrestled with that. My wife had a problem with that. And there were several others that had a problem. But we realized it was what kept us together. But it wasn't really that. It was our relationships we had great relationships. Nothing horrible happened in the community. We had problems. Yeah.
Were you suppressed like parts of your personality?
No.
How this affect you?
I believe we're in the crucible of changing and growing in the Lord. And what is that like? It's like loving God and loving my neighbor as myself, put with people that maybe you rub shoulders with and that type of thing. I look back on that, some of the people that I work with, different personalities, coming from different circumstances. And people see it in churches too. You're put with somebody that had a rough upbringing and so forth, and they're still residual. So that happened, but it was good. God was working things out, and I'm very grateful for that. Some of the people that I rub shoulders with most of all are some of my best friends. And Dennis, once in a while, he would rub my shoulder. I mean, he was a boss, and we had to get things done. It's like, so God was working with us. Yeah.
So what about like outside family? Because obviously not your entire clan didn't come into the community. So your grandparents, for example.
Well, here's the deal. We had it open to where they can come and we would take care of them if nobody wanted to, and that happened.
You could openly communicate with them though?
Yeah, we could do that. So there was mothers and dads that came. Dennis's, Vincent's dad came and mom and so forth. And there was other ones that came, and one of them moved in the area and that type of thing. And we reached out to the community a lot. We had a lot of that going on in our businesses and stuff, and just trying to be a witness for the Lord, trying to be one. So what was your question? I'm sorry, one more time. Just if there were...
No, so it doesn't feel very cult-like right now. You're in communication with the outside world, your family.
Yeah.
You could, you go to work outside, you come back in.
Yeah, right.
So at what point did like the boundaries get more? At some point this went south, so to speak.
The thing was I remember it was visiting relatives. We would have vacations once a year and so forth. And it was
also
looked out
normal.
on, hey, this is for your family unit, not for your family to come down, have a big hurrah, or you go to there. So it got to be, we moved into that position where some families could go and some families couldn't because of their parents were doing well. Some of them were, some of them weren't, had money, some of them didn't. So we decided not to do that, that if they came out, we could, they could come to the community, they could stay with us. So it got to where the line was drawn that we thought maybe this is where we're supposed to be. And like I said, we made mistakes. What church and family makes wrong decisions to protect, or, families do it too. They make mistakes and so forth. So I look at it after being gone for so many years, 15 years or something, the things that we did right and the mistakes we made. And one of them was that commitment. I think that was the number one. And not allowing the freedom to go, because if you were drawn, even if you had a commitment to stay, you should have the back door allowed to open up. If something comes up in your family and there's problems that you need to do, and you could go, but maybe you decide, I need to be, well, you made a commitment. So there's guilt implied there. And, we're talking about 32 years. We're in our third generation now. So this is built. And then the other thing I just tell people is that we didn't like them. It was the meetings to talk about business meetings, everything, sundry. We need to bring this up. We need to bring that up. We're going to build this. We're going to do that.
Okay, so let's do that real quick. And you say no. I don't think we should build that. This is big enough.
I wouldn't come in and say, well, I think that's the worst thing you've ever. We wouldn't come in that way. We'd say, well, what about this? It's trying to get along. It's trying to get along with somebody that disagrees with you or is seeing something different. And maybe So you listen to them and you give them time. And that's the way it was. It was like people that were very quiet and people that were vocal. Some of the people that were very quiet had a lot to say.
Okay, so your kids grow up.
Yeah.
Let's say you've got a son, he's 15, 16, 17. What's that like for him, for the sons and daughters?
Well, we worked a lot, busy. They had school. They had work departments where they'd actually go and take care of the community and so forth. So there was like a lot of hands-on stuff. And I think that's what made our kids smart. They put on a lot of stuff for the community. They were very talented. They started off with music very early, flutophone in the mouth. Here, you're going to play the trumpet. We need a trumpet player. And it's like, can I play that? Well, we need somebody here. Okay. So
could a kid, for example, go to college?
One of them did. It wasn't really. It was wasn't touted as being the biggest, the best thing at times. But if one of them was a nurse and she graduated flying colors and so forth. So it was some of them went to the local university. Music major. He became the conductor of our beautiful orchestra, and they competed nationally. Not nationally, but statewide.
So I get you. It's not all bad. I completely understand.
Absolutely
that.
not.
In fact, there's a lot of good that came out of it.
Well, yeah.
That's pretty much any situation is a mix.
Yeah.
Good, bad, angels, demons.
Yeah. Exactly.
But
it's a growing process.
Yeah, and you're here right now, so obviously you didn't stay.
Yeah. I waited to the very end. There was things in the leadership there that I didn't know exactly, but there were some things with maybe the pastor, things going on towards the end there. And we were thinking, well, this assistant pastor, there were some things in the leadership. So, as the old saying goes, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Absolutely, yes.
And it happens anywhere. And that's why you can't I think the easiest way I can explain is that they drew the line in the sand. And we're in our third generation. There's only 3 leaders. We needed elders. We needed deacons or whatever. We didn't have that. Yeah. They weren't allowing that and they were questioning not heresy type things, but can we change a little bit here? And I remember the meeting that they had. It changed everything. And everybody said, this is it. We want to see what's going on here.
The turning point.
The turning point where I thought, what is going on? I thought the leaders were getting along here. There was other things behind the scenes with different families I didn't know about, where there was some, hey, you got to do it this way. You're a leader. You got to do it this way, blah, blah, blah. And anyway, so I came out. Go ahead.
No, so describe leaving.
Yes, there was. I read some of the prompts here, but we were shunned. People that my neighbor. I mean, he was the only elder. I'd do anything for him. I would work at his house. I would do that for everybody. I'd like to help people, and learned a lot doing that. And but he shunned his kids, and he had 6 kids, 7 kids. They lived right next door. And when I saw that, my eyes were open.
He shunned them
because they left the community. And towards the end there, they were leaving. They were leaving because the line was in the sand.
Well, the community is still there. So it's your end.
Huh?
It's your end with the community, not the community ended.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're there. It's just a structural thing, and there's very few people there, and but anyway, so people have left since then, and there's not very many people there.
So kids started to leave, and now you're describing a really hard boundary. You just said that your child left, and you can't contact them.
That happened, yeah. And how that processed, it was like there was perimeters, but then when the child wanted to talk to mom and dad for something, and they wound up meeting them, there was problems with that. And it's like that's why Vincent's parents left, and that's They left, and we left about another year and a half after that. So
Did Vince's parents leave first, or did kids leave first?
the kids left first. Well, I think there was, trying to remember, but yeah. So
then there's
pretty much their kids were gone. They were like 18, 19. They were up there, and yeah.
So
and they were all single still.
So they're
Some
like
were married.
sitting there. You have this beautiful family. Now it's not there,
Mm-hmm.
and now you've got this line, and you're supposed to.
And they were visiting. They were coming back and forth, but because that line was crossed, it's like, this is a rule. You broke it.
Kind of awkward.
It's like, hello, this is family. This is my family. So there was a little disconnection there. And I think that's what got me, is that how can you disown your kids or, shun them or something like that?
So they're asking you to disown your kids, basically, with this.
Yeah, unless you come back.
Commitment.
Unless you come back and so forth. But yeah. So anyway.
So if a kid were to leave,
Mm-hmm.
do they put cash in their pocket, buy them a suit, and put them on a bus somewhere?
I don't know all the details of that, but I think there was some given. Some would say, well, I didn't get anything. And I was given, when we left, I was given an old truck. It had 300,000 miles on it, and it was promised, hey, this thing's been gone through. It's been checked out. It's great. So when I went back to San Diego back in 2012, it broke down in the middle of a snowstorm. The transmission blew up. And so anyway, I made it there, but they gave us $4,000 to move and so forth. So everybody was a little bit different, and everybody's circumstances different. I had 2 kids still in the house, and
so you obviously left with them.
yes, I left with 2 of our own. We had 5 kids. The 3 were gone.
They'd already left.
They had already left, and yeah, so we brought them. My daughter was in junior, just getting into high school, and my son was just in junior high school.
So why exactly did you leave?
I saw that what he was doing, the elder that was put in charge was going, and it was a lot. It was law. It was the law was most important, and something hit me. Are we taking too much time? Because I'm rambling.
I don't really know. This is
Okay.
fascinating.
When this elder, I lived near him, and I loved his family, all his kids. They've all left and stuff, and they're all doing well. And there was a fallout, and there were some serious situations there. In our family, thank the Lord that there's nothing been horribly wrong, and I'm not saying horribly wrong in other families. There were some things, but I gave, when I was leaving, there was a couple. We had some trailers that we were renting. That was part of our business around the area, and then we were renting them. And a couple that the 2 that wanted to leave, she wanted to get married. So they provided her a trailer and everything. She was staying there, and they were our neighbors too. And I thought, well, I've got we're leaving. I'll just give some of this stuff to her, and because they don't have any furniture over there. What am I going to do with it? This is stuff I put together, or I got at a garage sale.
How was that met?
Huh?
Well, did that turn bad?
It did. I was in his office, going through the final things about leaving and so forth. And I said, well, he said, well, what about what you have in the house here? And I said, well, I gave something. And he stopped and he said, well, that's not yours to give. And I said, well, it's just old. I couldn't sell it for anything or what. He said, but this is the rules. And this is a man he was very spiritual, very dedicated. I looked up to him and had a heart for the Lord for years and years and years. But then when I saw what he's doing to his family, it's like, oh my gosh. And that was an eye opener. That was my first eye opener. And then the next one was, he didn't want me to give it to them. I said, I'm just going to give it. So I thought, and I stood up in that meeting and I said, you got to be kidding me. All I want to do is give this away. it doesn't have value, but that's not your decision to make. And it's like, that's where it went to. And I think that's what took the community out. And I want to express an expression that, and I tell people this, when I talk about the community, and whenever you hold your hand like this, you'll never receive. But if you open your hand, you're going to receive. So, they weren't willing to compromise a little bit. It had to be our way or the highway. So the next generation's coming up. And guess what? God is working with that generation. We poured ourselves into our kids, love them, and they poured themselves back to us. And they have blessed us, and they worked. Yeah, anyway.
So you obviously seemed like you've done well leaving there. Did you have help, like deconstruction help? Would you call this a cult?
You know what? That word cult is often used in a negative fashion. And it can be.
Yeah.
It can be a bad thing. But our American culture, it's a word from culture. It's a lifestyle. The Acts of the Apostles, that was a culture that changed the whole world. But
this one happened to turn bad.
It did.
So
it did.
So you obviously had other friends that got out. Did they do as well as you?
Yeah, a lot of people. My son left and came here and worked for a company that Vincent, his brothers, owned. Did very, very well. They worked together well because they all knew each other from the community. And they're very real and honest with each other, and they hold each other accountable. They were raised with incredible values. And I will say that there was a fallout with that because of the community, and not only with us too, but I knew it took time for everybody. But with our kids, they kind of put God over here, and we're going to be good, and we're going to do this. We're going to treat people right. We're going to be honest and fair, and look out for the people that work for us. They're incredible people. All of them are. And they're very gifted, and they've done that. But then God's over here. He's doing his thing.
But if you're on the other side of that fence, like the couple for whom you gave the furniture to, they're not in that family to be helped. Well, you said that's what kind of broke you.
Yeah. That family, they wound up leaving. They were going to leave anyway, but they just got married and so forth. And it's like, I want to help them. So they took off and they live in another state, and we talk to them. And we do have a relationship with a lot of the people that left, and pretty much everybody that stayed there. It's like, you can't associate. Some of the people that we were neighbors and friends with for so many years, they just, we were not supposed to, because we left, it's like, all right. So I believe God broke us up, and he had his reasons.
Very good.
And we've gone out. People have recovered from that or recovering in their own way. Each and every one of us different, because we're all different, but we're all belong to the same God, and he loves us all. But trying to process that, it took time, and everybody did it differently. Some people just went into the world. Some people, it's like, I don't want to listen to anything. I don't want to read the Bible. I just want to,
rebellion. Yeah.
For me, when I went back to San Diego with my family, I lived with my family for my mom and dad for 6 months, and I hit the ground running. I started my own business. I was 55, and I got 2 great employees, and I had that for 10 years. And then we left in 21, and now we're here in Florida. So God has been good, and but he got me 3 or 4 years ago and said, Rick, you don't know how big I am. I have a massive operation going on here. I plan on saving the whole world, everyone. Every knee will bow, every tongue will. And I have to remind myself of that he's got a GPS on everybody. Man thinks he has, but it's primitive towards God. He knows every hair on our head. So yeah, there's problems that rise up, but God brings us through there. and he's got a purpose. And I never wanted to be a pastor. I never wanted to, I'm not a type of talker and stuff. I jump around.
So we're really here for mental health purposes to help other people.
Yeah.
So there's people in that same situation you were in. And what would you tell them?
I would say, if you see something, say something. As they say in the airport, if you see something, say something. And we got complacent and things were rolling along, and you get too busy and you wonder, well, what's going on there? Well, they'll work it out. Let's in our meetings, let's talk about this. And I wasn't the one that would say, well, I don't agree with this. Some people did. They had the guts to stand up and say, well, what about this? I thought we were going to do this. And but a lot of it was just like, this is what's going on in the community, our business, our corporation, our ministry. This was brought in. It was a lot of business, but then, what's going on for the year to come? What's our goals and that kind of thing. But
no, I was just thinking about other people in this situation. What kind of were there any? Just going back to mental health,
mental health.
Were there any people that left that couldn't acclimate back into society?
I'm
sure this didn't turn well for everybody.
There was family that was on the sidelines, I think, for everybody. I don't know of anybody that was actually left out in the cold unless they wanted to be. We had 130 people in our community, up to about that much.
That's big.
And there was family. They understood what we went through, and they were helping us. And some had counselors, good Christian counselors, to walk them through that process and stuff. But
there must have been a lot of guilt. You violated this covenant or this lifetime commitment.
It took time to recover.
So they had to obviously dismantle that.
Yeah. And God uses everything, even our mistakes, to make us draw or long to know more.
Yeah, I don't believe in mistakes. We learn from them.
Yeah, random things that
you need them.
Yeah, and God had us there for a purpose, and we affected a lot of people in that area, and they still just like miss us so much, and we have contact with those people and so forth. But I think the most important thing I can say is that stand up. If you see something, say something. Don't just put it under the carpet. Think that the leaders are going to take care of it. They'll work it out. We're so successful. We're doing good. Talk about things. That's the biggest thing. Bring it up and don't be afraid to say, well, what about this? What about that? I was like,
and trust your instincts.
Not understanding.
Trust your instincts too. So, for example, you've got God, and then you've got this lifetime commitment to the community. Like, are you saying that they got inverted?
Yeah, maybe at times.
That's a really big problem then.
Yeah. The community became, pretty much the most important thing because we had such...
That's the corruption of power.
It is. Yeah. So in that sense of a cult, you can say it turned into something not good. Or we'd still be there. Like I said, they didn't want to let go. And I think that was the main thing is that, hey, we need some more elders. And you guys are getting old. Even the priest retired in the Bible. But anyway, I believe that God, and there are a lot of people in our community believe that God has a reason why we split up. And it could be for this very reason that the things that we championed and that we wanted, loving God and raising our family in a good environment that we could control. Everybody wants that for their family. But when you get a community together to do that, we got a taste of heaven there. It was like heaven on earth. Beautiful. Everybody was out for each other. And then when Vincent went through this chemotherapy, forget the name of the thing.
Well, while he was in community, he went through this?
Yes. I remember this like the very day that it happened. And he went through, it was a year to 2 year situation. Right, Vincent?
Yeah, T-cell leukemia.
T-cell
leukemia. And all the stuff that was going on there, it's like God has a purpose. And here we are. And he brings beauty out of chaos. And he brings life out of situations like this for a purpose.
I agree.
And we're proof of that our kids are prospering. I just hope they remember, as I say, what side their bread is buttered, because if it wasn't for our community, they would not be doing what they're doing, and they wouldn't have what they have.
I agree.
And I remind my kids that.
And I've met quite a few people from the community.
Yeah.
I've known some for over 15 years, and the work ethic is off the chart. It reminds me of the pioneer spirit.
Yeah. It was just
you outwork any situation. Let me guess, and then you save. You invest in your people.
Right.
You care about your people.
It was our home.
So your employees
Instead
are
of my
long-lasting.
house, it was my home. It was our home.
Right.
It was my school. It was my church.
So you had to start over.
Yeah, and I have to say that I'm a little gun shy. We go to Beaches Chapel, great church, 1122, great church, and God He's involved with everything. There's a passionate desire to follow God and to do what's right and so forth. And anyway,
Gun shy. You're holding back.
Yeah. I'm there. We've been there 3 years, and I'm not a member.
But you can't give it all, can you? Again, you can give it to God.
Yes, but I'm giving what I can behind the scenes.
I understand.
Like talking to people, sharing the Lord with them, and saying, God, can I give you the best news that is in this whole? We're in that situation, the Jesus Revolution. We're in that situation right now. It came out 2 years ago.
I agree. Right now.
And that movie has started a revolution. It started a huge change in our country, in our universities with the young people, Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, I was just going to say that exactly.
Yeah, and the guy that plays this hippie is the same guy that plays Jesus in The Chosen. And if you haven't seen The Chosen, see The Chosen. They've taken liberty. They've put stuff in there. But anyway, can I share one more thing?
And then we're going to wrap it up.
Okay. I think there's so many important things I want to tell people. And it's really helped me.
And you have, by the way, you already have. This has been fascinating. I really want to thank you, Rick. This is absolutely fascinating story.
It is. It's been quite. Anyway.
Give me one more biggie.
Two things. I'll merge them. The Lord, his disciples said, how do we pray? And he said, okay, you're asking the right questions. When you pray, say, our Father who is in heaven, holy is your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive our trespasses as we trespass. Where we screw people up, where we rub their shoulder, we do things, thoughtlessly. We say things wrong. He said, you got to forgive people. If you don't, he said so much in the scripture, you have to let it go.
What if you don't forgive yourself?
God has already done that. You've got to keep going back to reality. Jesus set up another movie. I'll tell you, you've got to see this.
I think good people are very, very hard on themselves.
Yeah, it's okay. But what I was saying was, if you concentrate on the prayer, it's such a short little prayer. And what I'm telling you is, Jesus wasn't just a prophet. He wasn't just a run-of-the-mill sage or whatever, or a wise man, or he was the Son of God, yes. But look at this. This is just scratching the surface. You see this? The Elohim, Eloi, Eloi, sabachthani. He was calling out to his Father. In the beginning, the Elohim, it was the Father and the Son. And he was bigger. Okay, he's saying, just concentrate on the Lord's Prayer. I'm telling you, it's packed. This is a creator that gave us all the important factors of living, is for loving the other one next to you, forgiving them, and growing up. You know, a life's a process. And
I went to a church one day, and they pulled apart the Lord's Prayer, and forgive us of our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against them. So you're praying to God, and often, all the time, every day, it's a beautiful prayer, that you want God to forgive you like you forgive other people.
Exactly.
So you better be really good at it. Am I right? Because you're praying like...
Yeah, he said, forgive us our trespasses as we, the same
That's
way
right.
same way we're doing.
So
And
you kind of get what you give,
yeah.
and you're praying that all the time. I just think
Don't you see that in the family?
I think it's misunderstood.
Go ahead.
I don't think
wanna
people
hear it.
understand how important that statement is.
We don't talk about it enough.
Yeah, or you just say it.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
memorized.
everybody in our community that, you know, was rubbed the wrong way, or the community failed us or whatever, towards the end there, whatever, you have to let it go.
You're forgiven. Not only that, but this is hard. Thank you for the lesson.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. Because God, the reason why he's asking us to do that is because God is working with that
That's
person
right.
too.
That's right.
And guess what? He died for that person too. And he said, you know, John 3, it's all there. For God so loved the world. I mean, it's
an incredible concept.
It's off the charts.
More than a concept. It's just an incredible. The more you get into it, the more incredible it becomes. I want to thank you. I think you're going to help a lot of people.
I hope I have.
I appreciate you being on the Angels and Demons podcast, and thank you, Vince, for allowing me to host
Vincent,
this.
Thank you.
This has been fascinating, and
their crew too.
And thank you, very nice. And to everyone watching, you're not alone. We've all been through it and are going through it. And please seek help. Find a trusted person to speak to or professional help. But I look forward to being your friend. I just met you today, so I look forward to being your friend. I do too. It's beautiful.
For years. And don't forget, no matter where you are, no matter how bad you feel, no matter what circumstance, if you feel like you blew it big time, your thoughts, you know, whatever, remember, God is a heavenly Father. And he says, if you being ungood know how to do good to your kids, how much more your heavenly Father for his kids. And we're all his kids, you know. So, I mean, just never feel like you're all alone. He's right there. You can talk to him anywhere, anytime, any circumstance, and nothing can keep you from him. You're on his GPS. So anyway.
And prayer's incredible. It works.
It
does. It just works.
Yes.
That should be another podcast, but it absolutely works.
I want to get it up on my wall. Actually, I have it in my garage.
Yeah.
Next to that thing.
No,
it's like the Lord's
true.
Prayer. It's a structure, but the concepts in there, it's to give us life and to point us in the right direction.
Well, you're actually connecting.
Yeah. You're connecting with truth, and that's a whole nother one. Is truth.
Yeah, and prayers are
truth.
answered.
You can't change it. If it's true, no man can change it.
That's right.
Anyway, I'll shut up.
Hey, thank you so much.
All right,
I
brother.
really enjoyed it, and thank you for watching the Angels and Demons podcast.
Yes.
Thank you.